So Dezi and I met 14 years ago in Sacramento.
We met at a party. I had friends of mine that happened to be his roommates.
She was going to Sac State, and I had just transferred there to finish my BA.
We got to know each other a little bit after that, and we realized we had work ethic in common. I was working 3 jobs.
And I was doing the same thing, working 3 days at CAL FIRE and going to school 4 days a week.
We bonded over that and had a lot of fun together, and now here we are 14 years later. So life after college for us was not what we imagined.
It was 2011, and after we graduated from college, we decided just to rent a room from my mom.
We thought once we had the degrees, things would be smooth sailing and we'd start building together, and we kind of had to take a step back.
I was going to paramedic school during the day and working on an ambulance company at night.
And I started working as an aquatics director full-time, more than full-time, and was the breadwinner for our little family.
What she wanted to do was just rent an apartment, and what I wanted to do was sacrifice a little bit and get into our first house in real estate so that we could invest for our future. In 2012, we started looking at homes. We had basically no budget, and we were getting beat out by cash investors.
He kept pushing the idea of buying a house, and I was like, you're crazy. We're barely making ends meet as it is. We have no money.
We found a subdivision in Oakley, and we used her dad's money from the wedding for a deposit.
We lucked out. We got a loan that was 0% down. It's called a USDA loan. We didn't have to pay closing costs. They even gave us a free TV because they were basically giving away houses at that time.
But we were still really worried about getting approved for the loan. So when we went and picked out our finishes for the design center, we had to make sure every single thing we picked out was free because we didn't want to go over budget and end up not being approved for the loan when the house went to close.
And we basically moved in for nothing. And that was the journey of our real estate. I was still super nervous because we were barely making the mortgage payments, which were so small at that time. But it was our home, and it just took a little bit of time for me to realize what that was gonna mean for us in our future.
So what we did was we moved in 2013. It was really scary, but I showed Dezi the difference from an apartment in Livermore, which is where she wanted to move, and our mortgage. And even though it was scary, it was basically the same payment. And I knew every month, instead of throwing money away in an apartment, we'd be putting money away toward our mortgage and toward our future.
Okay, so after we bought the Oakley house, we got married, and then both of our careers started taking off a little bit more. And we still talked about living on the water in Discovery Bay. That was the dream, that's what we couldn't afford, and that's why we had bought the house in Oakley.
Eventually, we knew that we were gonna have to leverage our home as a down payment. We were both making progress in our careers, and we started to attend open houses on the water to stay motivated.
I thought we were way far away from being able to afford anything on the water, but Myles said, he kept telling me, if this is what we're gonna do, we need to envision it, we need to put ourselves in those situations.
Soon, we were pre-approved and we had an offer accepted on our dream home. It was only 2.5 years of equity, which we found was enough to move into a home we thought we could never afford.
We found the perfect house on the water with a dock, just like we wanted, and here we were in our dream home, which we spent 5 years in, thinking we would be there for the next 30, and then things started to change for us again.
We really started getting into real estate. After 3 transactions as clients, we fell in love with the possibility that real estate could bring people.
Both of us were always on apps on our phones, looking at houses, looking at the market, even though we thought we were settled in this house forever. Myles started getting really into investing in real estate, and I started looking into how to become a real estate agent.
We had a wonderful agent, but we realized that not all agents were as pleasing. We dreamt of one day helping others meet their goals by becoming agents ourselves.
We also got pregnant with our first child, and so that's when things really took off for us. We started looking into buying our first investment property out of state. We took our classes, took our tests, and became real estate agents.
In 2020, we joined E3 right in the middle of the pandemic.
Which sounds crazy, but we joined E3 and we had tons of resources all of a sudden. And then at the end of 2020, we got pregnant with our second child, and we started talking about moving back towards the Sacramento area.
We decided to move to Dorado Hills for better opportunities for our family, and we were able to do so by leveraging our home into a bigger home for our growing family.
We were looking for something that was more family-friendly and where we could raise our 2 boys for the next 18 years. So we started looking and decided to make the sacrifice of selling our home, moving into a tiny apartment. We started looking around at homes. We found the perfect home. We were able to leverage all the equity we made in Discovery Bay into that home. We beat 2 cash offers, well over asking price, 7 offers total. And now here we are with 2 investment properties, a real estate business, and the home that we're gonna raise our kids in, all because of real estate.